Hi everyone, how are you guys doing? So this is a video I've really been wanting to make, and especially recently. And I feel like this is something that I actually wanted to answer, and I feel like nobody has answered this or whatever. And yet, a lot of Mexicans and other Latino men have been wanting to know. Actually, have been very curious to know. Well, okay, so really, I didn't know what to name it. Whether do Korean girls like Mexican men, or do Korean women like Mexican men, or do Korean women like Latino or Latin American men? So I'll just call it do Korean women like Latin American men. It's not really because of being like clickbaity or whatever. A little bit. I'm gonna be honest. What? No. But actually, the entire reason is seriously also because this isn't really something that's exclusive to Mexicans or Mexican males. They're not specifically towards Mexicans, because this also applies to Colombian, to Puerto Rican, to Chilean, Peruvian, Spanish, everyone from the Spanish-speaking world, or even Latino world. Probably why not also include Brazil too. Um, so if you're from any of those places or in any of the other places I didn't mention, just hear me out, and especially if you're curious about it. Now, do Korean women like us men? From the Spanish-speaking world. Okay, the short answer is no. The long answer, it's a little bit complicated. It's such a simple question, but however, the answer isn't quite so. It's not quite so simple. It's rather complicated. Okay, here's a disclaimer. Okay, first of all, I'm not a Korean girl. Another thing is, I've never been to Korea, to South Korea, or much less North Korea. I haven't asked them. Well, I've asked a few actually, a few of the Korean girls and stuff. But however, I've looked in. I've actually studied this topic. I've read through forums and stuff like that, and what they like and what they don't like. I've also like asked a few. Like I said before, I've asked a few of the Korean women, and a lot of the times, most of them, they either say yes, or they will say, I don't care about nationality. But even then, a lot of times you can't rely on that 100% of the time. That's not very. That's not. I honestly don't think it's a very credible source. Because they could be lying. And sorry, excuse me, if you're a Korean woman and you're watching this, you're probably outraged. But a lot of this, you could be saying this just to not make us feel bad, or because it doesn't sound politically correct or something, But I'm just saying what is truth, but yeah, don't take offense into this. If there is something that I said that is wrong, and you have proof, I'm open to it. Prove me wrong. Tell me otherwise. And comment down on the comment section down below. And yeah, I'd love to hear from your comments, definitely. I will show you a clip why it's not a good idea to ask a Korean girl this, and you'll see why.
Girls like black guys.
Yes! We love black guys!
A black guy asking white women if they're attracted to black guys is far from the best way to elicit honest opinions. Who's going to want to look like a backward thinker and possibly be accused of being prejudiced for having a preference for non-black guys? And as we know, women lie anyway.
Yes.
No, she hesitated. That means a no.
Well done the host for picking up on this. This girl's delayed, unconvincing answer and the facial frowning are involuntary micro-expressions indicating that she's lying. Her facial expression, posture and body language are literally rebelling against the untruths coming out of her mouth. You can literally hear her trying to convince herself even that she's telling the truth.
I'm going to be frank. The short answer is no. The long answer is well, there's a lot to it, of course. But I'll have to tell you that the Korean, well, as far as actually much like other Asians, they just go for their own kind, well, their own nationality, which is Korean men. And if they don't go for them, if they want to be different or want to go with somebody that's different, would be somebody of a different Asian nationality. If it's somebody of a different race outside the race, of the East or Southeast Asian category, they would go for the Caucasian males, white Caucasian males, especially Northern European or U.S. or Canadian men or Australian men, those type of men. Especially the ones that appear rather Northern European or something. Because one thing is that there's a lot of reasons, like their standard of beauty seems to actually coincide, seems to actually have characteristics that many Caucasian Europeans actually possess, It's maybe a coincidence, maybe not. But other than that, also, well, you know how the deal is really. For the last few hundred years, like the Europeans have been around and invaded, and well, I don't know if invaded is the correct word, but they've been around in many different places, for the better, for the worst, and they've shaped societies across the globe. A lot of societies across the globe share the same government, the same legal systems, the same culture, the same holidays. We recognize, like the calendar. Like today is what is it? This year is 2018. That's based on the Gregorian calendar, which is something of a culture that's Indo-European. Also linguistically, we've also adopted it. And even as far as the standard of beauty, it falls into what is desired by Indo-Europeans, and which is to be having features that are more Caucasian. So yeah, that is one reason why they would like Caucasian males. And actually, Korean women, they would actually like Latin American men. Okay, so pretty much, if you are, I'm going to say if you're Spanish, well, if you're like a Spanish or Argentinian or South Brazilian or something, which a lot of them, they tend to look more European, they would, they would definitely, what's the word I'm looking for? They would definitely have a shot at it. They would have a much higher chance of getting with one than the other ones. Those are the ones who would have the highest chance, and it would be a pretty high chance. And also, with as far as guys who are mixed, I'm gonna say like the mestizo and the mulatto, and also especially if you are, well, preferably if you are, say, a mestizo who's more on the European side rather than the indigenous or Amerindian side, or if you're a mulatto who's more on the European side than the black side, you'll also have a shot at it. But however, it works like if you are like 60-40 or at least have a phenotype that has a little bit more on the European side, that I would have to say white passing. Some examples of what I would define as white passing would probably be like, for example, Oscar de la Hoya or like Gabriel Soto. What are some other ones? There's a few other ones: Gabriel Soto, Oscar de la Hoya. There's Juanes. There's Maluma. Some of them may or may not have some Amerindian, but a lot of them, it's more like 30% or a fourth or even less than that. And even in their phenotype, sorry, I can't talk right now. Their phenotype, it's not very noticeable. And okay, so as far as for the other guys in the other category, I would have to say it's hard, and it's probably at least it's harder, you know. But however, the situation is not completely hopeless for us. Um, like for example, I'm gonna say if you have an interest in Korean culture, or if you also what's the word I'm well if you have an interest in Korean culture, Korean language, and even show her that you have a genuine interest in that and stuff like that, and take some time and build some friendship or chemistry and stuff, you know that you guys do have a chance, you know, and but yeah, and honestly, a lot of you guys will say that, well, you have no proof, you haven't been to Korea, you haven't seen any Korean girls. Well, we haven't seen you talking to them and stuff like that, and asking them. But the thing is, like even if you were to interview some Korean girls, if I were to interview some Korean girls like on the street, if they like Mexican men or Latin American men, a lot of them, they would either say yes, or they would say I don't care about nationality. But a lot of them, or at least some of them, they'd actually be lying, and they would actually, like for example, that would be so we don't feel bad or something like that, or it would be for like so it doesn't sound politically correct or something like that. But the fact of the matter is, it's not so reliable either. And but yeah, that's my take on it. So yeah, like as far as do Korean males like Korean females, or do Korean females like Korean males? That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer, you know. Like a lot of the Korean males, they love Korean. I mean Latin females, Latin American females, and a lot of the females from our culture, you know, they like Korean males. Yeah, so because of like K-pop and whatever, you know. But as far as the other way around, the answer isn't so simple. The question is it's such a simple question, but such a not so simple answer, you know.